would throw the ball and Tim would catch the ball. That's the way it's always been. That's the way it's always going to be. When they were little, they joined a little league team. They weren't very good at baseball, but whenever they got the chance, Jim would throw the ball and Tim would catch the ball. That's the way it's always been. That's the way it's always going to be. They were a little bit older. They got to high school and they put up for the varsity team, but they weren't really that good. So they got on the JV team. But Jim would throw the ball and Tim would catch the ball. That's the way it's always been. It's always going to be. Exactly. They got a little bit older and they decided to make baseball their career because they loved it so much, but they still weren't good at it at all. So they just joined the minor league team, and Jim would throw the ball and Tim would catch the ball most of the time. When they were on the bench because they weren't that good. One day, Jim looked at Tim and he's like, you know what, we have families now. We need to get a real job and really support our family. This just isn't paying the bills. And Tim's like, good idea, Jim. Let's become construction workers. And they're like, yeah, let's do that, yeah. So one day they were at a construction site. Jim was throwing bricks, Tim was catching them. And all of a sudden, Jim threw one straight up, and Tim didn't catch it. Okay, that's the end of that joke. It's not very funny. I got another one though. So there's this airplane, right? And on it there's a lady, and she has a dog, and a man who's smoking a cigarette. And this is a long flight from like New York to San Diego or something like that. It's a long flight. And the guy's just puffing away on a cigarette, and it's just bugging the lady with the dog so much the dog's barking and everything, and he just can't stand it. So finally she just leans over the guy and says, you know what? I hate that cigarette. Would you just get rid of it, please? And he's like, fine, you know what? I'll throw my cigarette out the window if you throw your dog out the window. And she's like, what? That's weird. But you know what? I hate cigarette smoke so much, so it's a deal. So she throws her dog out the window and he throws a cigarette out the window. And they continue the flight. They both get to sleep. Both kind of mad at each other, but at least they can sleep. And when they get to San Diego, they land, they get off the plane. They look on the wing of the airplane, and there's the dog, and guess what's in his mouth? The cigarette! No, the brick! Yeah!